up? Guess
Chat.
what? Yep.
You don't have chat?
Not even close. Not even close. So if you play a video game that makes you mad, and you know it makes you mad,
Yeah.
should you stop playing it?
Does the sound still make it? The tree falling forest still make it sound?
I don't know.
No. Should you stop playing it?
Yeah. Because
I guess if it affects you after you log off, right? If you still mad when you get up and walk away, yeah,
you should stop playing it.
probably stop playing. Unless somebody's cheating or glitching or otherwise aimbotting, and then you have the right to do that thing. I won't say we're on screen.
Yeah, well,
But you get it, right?
No,
People
I get
cheating?
it. No, I get it. Because yeah.
What, Lego?
Yep. Yep. Star Wars. It's a card. I mean, it's purely a randomized game, but man, it's when you win, you're like yes. When you lose, it's like I want to punch my computer. So I'm actually more my iPad, which is way too expensive to punch. Sorry, we're late. By the way. Sorry, we are late. We got so much to talk. We do have a lot to talk about. Hey, guess what? Good thing we don't stream on Facebook. Because that's down. Oh, yeah, it is. All right, 10 seconds. Why not? There you go. 5, 4. Hey, everybody. Welcome. What's going on? Mike and Corey with you here. Not Your Average Show, October 4th, 2021.
What's up?
Monday. What's going on? Sorry, we're a little late. We're a little late. That's what's up. What's up with you, man?
Yeah, no. Couch with Roscoe.
Sweet.
Roscoe the dog.
Roscoe is enjoying
he's
the
back
day.
in the studio. Chewing on his paws, so that's always good.
Cool. How was your weekend?
Good. Actually, yeah. So, for anybody who follows the channel, we obviously talk a lot about tech here and aviation and space, but we also play some games in our spare time.
Yep.
And we were able to get into the Halo test.
Halo Infinite
This
beta.
was a server test for like load and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Halo Infinite test for Xbox and PC, and it was a good time. If you're into that kind of multiplayer and Halo stuff and all that, it was something that we're going to be looking forward to. You know, you're always looking forward to whatever's coming next, but also you realize things have been remade sometimes and they don't come out and they're not that great, and you're like, kind of let down. This one was good. I'm hoping I'm hoping the multiplayer is certainly going to be good.
Yep.
We're hoping obviously the campaign is good. So yeah, there you go. That was the weekend.
That was a big thing though. We started out actually on the actual Xbox, and then we both actually switched over to our computers, and profoundly our performance in actual how well we were playing the game. Let's just cut to the chase. It was way better on PC than it was on the Xbox.
All you gamers out there will know the dichotomy between console gamers and PC gamers and all the way. And I mean, I used to console game a lot, and I think I'm a PC guy now. Honestly, gotta tell you.
Hey, look! Stop, Roscoe. He's eating his paw.
Stop!
Stop eating your paw. Shouldn't be eating your paw anymore, buddy. Anyhow, hey everybody, welcome. We got a big show for you today. So what are we going to talk about? Honda's got a helicopter or an EVTOL. You be the deciding factor on that one. We're going to talk about it here in a minute. We also are going to talk about the fact that Tesla and Rivian.
Well, they continue their illegal spat.
Yeah, about battery tech this time around. And then lastly, we talked about it repeatedly on the show, the fact that when the EV future comes and all these electric vehicles are going to happen, what's going to be the impact on the power grid? And we found someone that's done a study, and we're just going to talk about some of the highlights that came from that study. But is it going to happen on number one, number two? It also, there's a whole bunch of stuff going on there. But we will still need infrastructure, that's for sure. So there's some of that stuff that's going on. Okay.
So join us in the comments as we go through these topics.
Yeah. So I draw the short story. Actually, I didn't. I just decided I'm going to do this one, which is, you mind if I take the floor, sir?
I have it. Yeah.
All right. So here we go. To kick it off, Honda, which actually is not a company that is actually foreign to aviation. They do actually have a very successful jet out in the marketplace. Honda has decided that it's their time to jump into the EVTOL kind of market because with that, Honda has actually debuted some great looking prospects for what's basically going to be their quote unquote helicopter. And what this comes to is directly from, I think this one's from Auto Week, but it's on a couple other places right now, that Honda gets get some of these plans out for their helicopter, a robot, a moon base, and a rocket ship. But more importantly, to the one that we're going to talk about for a little bit at first here is their EVTOL, which is basically a passenger pod and sitting below 8 propellers. Now, the weird part is that it can go about 100 miles, but actually it's going to go about 400 miles because in the article, they do state that Honda is looking to get into what is going to be mostly a hybrid unit, which is they're going to use some sort of pure electricity that can go 100 miles, then a turbine that can make it go up to 400 miles. Now, there's a couple of caveats here because this thing actually looks very, very similar to something that's coming out in the marketplace already, which is from Beta Aircraft, which we've talked about here before on the show, and we'll show a picture of that in a minute. However, this says a little bit more about, and we're gonna talk about the other stuff. But what's really important here is that Honda has a jet. Honda had a light jet that entered the light jet category back when light jets seemed like they were going to take over the marketplace. Back 2008, they were pretty hot. Market kind of collapsed, and the very light jet category never really developed. However, with that said, seeing Honda, another major manufacturer, jump in to what they're talking about an eVTOL future for urban air mobility, this is kind of big news. So we're going to digest that in a minute. However, before we even get into that conversation, one of the things that I do want to say is this is their basic fundamental design, right? Basically this long bar with about 8 props on it and 2 pusher props in the rear. However, bad news is it kind of mimics a design that we've already seen from a company called Beta that we've actually talked about here on the show, which is using same kind of rail design, 2 wings, and then a pusher prop. Coincidence? We don't know. What's your thoughts, Corey?
Yeah, it's I mean, just as Mike said there, Honda EVTOL is actually what it's called. Currently, it's the Honda EVTOL. It does resemble the basic design of Beta Aircraft does, and if you have looked at our other show about the Beta Aircraft or kept up with EV Beta as well, they got some contracts with the other players. They've already got the thing flying. Beta seems to be quite further along. You know, they're doing their thing, and Honda's just saying, hey, you know, we want to. Well, and yeah, specifically talking about the article, but out of the article, just the air EV. Is I did want to point out just a few small things, right? You did mention that the range is supposed to be electric, but then it's supposed to be up to 400 nautical miles on the using the turbine hybrid electric power system. And and not familiar with that either. Talked obviously about turbine power plants and other types of vehicles before that would be driven by a shaft going off to wherever would. It would be just something to note here that it does also specify the turbine in this particular power plant would just be to keep the batteries topped up, right? It's just to supplement the electric power needed for the rotors to, right? So it would just be basically a big generator in it. So that does make sense that it would keep a bit of the extra moving components as low as possible, right? Then just run cable wherever you need to run cable. So you don't have rotating components or shafts going down all these pylons and whatnot, which is obviously smart to do. So that's just something just to note as far as the hybrid electric power train. I'm curious to get the rest of the information about it. If we just want to compare real quick again, some similar type of like numbers from the Beta Technologies aircraft. They do talk about, let me pull it up here. Waiting for it to load. Yeah, so they do talk about the max takeoff weight of the Beta. Something, again, we're going to just say maybe comparable. 6,000 pounds. Wingspan on the Beta is 50 feet. A range of 250 nautical miles. We know setup. They, on the Beta, talk about a recharge time of 50 minutes. And a cargo of 200 cubic feet of cargo. That's if it was cargo setup. And then it's a 5+1. So I'm thinking, looking at just the size, Honda probably is about the same size as far as passengers. The one picture you showed from the side profile of the model, not the render, but the actual model.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. You might be able to get more than 5 people in there.
I don't. Well,
I wonder. I'm trying to figure like how big it actually is.
I don't think it's going to be super. I mean,
the render looks like
what
4.
Let's go back to the render because they're both from the same article. So
the
render's real small.
Maybe 2 rows of 3. I don't know. It's kind of hard to tell. but yeah, I mean, what do you think, man?
Hey, it's well. First of all, this is the first part we can solidify that there's a design that two manufacturers agree that is probably the way to move forward. And Honda, having actual aviation experience in building aircraft, and again, they do make their Honda Jet, which is a beautiful aircraft. If you guys aren't familiar, it's been out there in service now for I think a little on over 15 years. Okay, and it's pretty. It's a nice aircraft. They're actually well sought after, very light jets. They are okay. There was a couple other manufacturers like Diamond and Eclipse and others that were in that range, but Honda survived and they actually got theirs out the door. So they're not a stranger to this environment. But it's more to me the biggest news here is that they've got a design. It's comparable to what other people have, and Honda jumping in as a big name means that there's a little bit more validity to this marketplace that could mean business. And one of the things that they do go into this article and they say is that, if they use this thing right, this thing could basically, you could summon it to your backyard. And so if this guy wanted to say go from New York City to Cape Cod, actually the likelihood route there would be New York City out to the Hamptons, but the difference would be he could take this thing, jump on board, and that magic 100-mile to 400-mile range makes a big difference.
Yep.
Also, the fact that they're going to a hybrid electricity kind of situation speaks to what we've been saying a lot, which is a major disadvantage to a lot of these companies that are purely electric. That a hybrid electric with some sort of turbine means that you would weight shed over the duration of the flight. And if you only had minimum battery time to run sort of 45 minutes on board, it also solves a lot of issues with alternates, bad weather, being able to make the mission a little bit more successful with that range. Now, the difference would be what speed are we talking now? That's a different conversation, right?
I mean, I'm trying to determine through these renders, dude, if you can tell that the pylons, not the pylons that run longitudinally, but the ones that run side to side, they are lifting airfoils, right?
Right.
In shape, they do.
They look to
they're
be
lifting bodies, which would make sense, of course.
right.
So that basically means again, you can take the amount of lift you need when you're. So they just use the pusher props to basically keep the aircraft aloft. Then they slow down all the rotors on top of the pylons or turn them off, or something like what Beta would might. And then of course you can get a higher speed. I would imagine something like this, they would probably, again, to cut down on noise if they're going to be landing in vertiports as well, and intercity kind of stuff, they would be using the batteries for takeoff and landing.
Sure.
And the en route, the faster parts as well, fine. And keep the battery topped up, and then best of both worlds currently.
Now, Beta says that their top speed is going to be somewhere around 175 miles an hour. Okay, that's what they're predicting with a range of 250. So the thing is, that's almost at that speed of where you would smooth out the ride well enough where this thing could be successful. So here's basically our thing is, it's Honda. They're in the marketplace. Right. They're only showing renders, but that means that there's probably something coming down the pipe. Let us know what you think in the comments below.
They've already done wind tunnel testing,
Yeah.
They've been doing stuff.
They've been doing it.
We'll definitely keep track of this because, again, Honda, big player in many different things.
Yeah.
Not just automobiles, if you care, but tons of other stuff. They can probably make this happen. So
yeah. So here's the second part, though. Now, Corey was keen to pick up the fact that in the bottom part of this article is something completely different, which is their discussion of their robots to go up against companies, I guess, right now, like Tesla, who's going to have their robot coming out soon, but also rockets and, no joke, a moon base. So is it time for us to raise our finger up and go moon base for Honda? Because it's sounding like they're getting into either the evil villain business or what's going on, man? Because the space side of me is actually a little bit more intrigued. What about you?
I mean, we're always interested in space and there. We also know, Honda's been into robots for quite a while. They did Osimo quite a while ago, and that was a pretty interesting thing. That was way before all of the interesting videos came out of Boston Dynamics. So Osimo's been around, right? So. It did mention that it did say that they were interested in making rocket technology, but it's spacefaring technology. So I don't know. I don't think it's to say they're trying to like make their own moon base, but maybe explore the tech and everything that would be make a moon base. Maybe not like have a Honda moon base sponsorship. Who knows? But but I don't know if we're at the point of saying, oh yeah, Honda's gonna have their own rockets, their own Honda astronauts, their own moon base, the Honda moon base. I don't know if we're gonna. But It is interesting to see. I mean, if you do look at robotics and space, there's NASA's had robotics looking at, but not just. I don't mean just like robots that explore, like submarine off world places where there's water.
Hmm.
Pretty interesting stuff. And of course, the helicopter on Mars.
Hmm.
But human. We're talking about human. And there's already been a lot of working around. So, I would imagine uh, that Honda has a few different ideas. There's even
Yeah, some big
there's
ones.
even a picture down here. I don't know if you're in there.
Which one?
Near the bottom of the article, there's even a rover down there with hands. Kind of
Oh,
cool.
yeah, the moon bot. They're calling this the
the
moon
bot,
bot.
which is different. I haven't seen a rover with legit hands before,
Mhm.
to my knowledge. So that's cool. So I don't know. We'll see, man.
I think Honda dabbled, like you said, they dabble into technology. They are one of those companies that's gotten into robots early, and they were able to produce a humanoid robot before just about anybody else that I know of.
Yep.
In the Osmo, and that speaks volumes of the fact that when Honda does this, now Honda has a very exploratory, I would say, repertoire of going in and basically saying, "Hey, we're going to explore the viability of this, that, or the other thing." And they do it because I think they gain more on the R&D on the backside, which actually
Yeah.
propels them in other parts of industry that really helps them out. Uh, so with that, to see Honda kind of dip their toe into these arenas, I think that means that Honda sees a better long-term strategy. Now, the difference is Honda takes a very long practical road towards their applications of these technologies. So I think that means that, hey, we're probably within the window of seeing something else happening here, but it's probably going to take a lot longer than people think. Just spitting that out there,
Yeah,
right?
that could be.
That could be the case. So, hey, let us know what you think in the comments below. Honda's making big waves in the technological futures of
Very
what
cool.
we
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
see out there. So, let us know what you guys think. It'd be really cool to see if they can get it there. But odd that they would copy almost or be nearly identical to the design of Beta aircraft. That's kind of weird.
Yeah, I mean, I'll dig more on that and see if I can find something. Because again, we see Honda's already in the wind tunnel about it. So, yeah.
Okay. All right.
Cool.
Thanks, guys. Let us know what you think. All right. Corey's going to take the floor now and talk to us about the ongoing beef between two electric car titans at this point.
Yeah. Geez.
Right?
Yep.
Kind of funny.
Yeah. Yeah. So basically, this next one is coming from us from Electrek, but it's a few other places. But basically, it says Tesla's claiming Rivian is stealing trade secrets
Mhm.
about the next gen battery that they're working on and an expanding loss. So if you weren't aware, back in July last year, Tesla started suing Rivian, basically saying that some of the employees that were leaving from Tesla and then being hired and in a way poached from Rivian were from Tesla. Was not working. Oh, okay. Just gonna put it in my mouth. Okay,
Yeah, I gotta
good.
put it in your mouth.
Awesome.
You were cutting out a bit.
Yeah, basically saying that some of the employees had left Tesla and they had gone to Rivian, and then some of those employees actually even had gone back to the Tesla employees they used to work with, and had kind of asked them, hey, do you want to work at Rivian? And also, by the way, hey, there's some things that we're missing at Rivian that could really, really help out at Rivian. Tesla does. And then, long story short, some of those people that did go over were found with those documents, having sent them personal documents from Tesla, from the Tesla database to their own personal accounts, and then maybe taking them off to Rivian or basically stuff like that. So that was back last year. The latest development now, basically, as the title says, Tesla's adding to this lawsuit to say that now the battery secrets, next gen battery that Tesla's been working on, now Rivian's got their hands on that through various means, and now they're looking at some of that too. And I was telling Mike before we started the show, you know, if you guys had looked at some of the patents and some of the history of Tesla as well, when they developed some of their tech, there was many of them they just freely let out with the intent to help spur the EV revolution,
Mhm.
right? But I was telling Mike too. I said a lot of those things about motors and things that makes sense to help companies kind of get going and like really make this happen, because that was Elon's deal.
Mhm.
But Tesla obviously is a business. They want to keep some business edge, and I've been talking tons on this channel, of course, about battery density, battery technology. All that stuff has to get improved for many of the applications that aerial EVs, all these things want to do, and it'll have knock-on effects in battery tech with everything that uses batteries.
Sure.
And for Rivian to borrow that, borrow it, that would probably something you don't want to give up, especially if you're on the cutting edge of battery tech, which companies in overseas would also be quite interested in too. So,
Well, yeah, that's a big one. That's a big chunk
yeah,
to take out of
it's
somebody's business
batteries
model.
is huge
Yeah.
for these. So yeah, I mean, what do you think, man? It's the latest in this ongoing spat. What's going on?
Okay, so look, we all know Tesla. Now, look, the caveat: early adopters usually have to suffer some sort of shortcoming in a product because they want to be first, right? And that means when you previously bought a Tesla, you had to buy into the fact that it was electric and that there was going to be a time where you'd have to wait for the electric infrastructure to come up behind it. We've talked about at length also at times that Tesla also sees themselves as building a network of superchargers with possibly even restaurants growing cross country, building a brand out of other areas that you wouldn't necessarily think that an EV brand would be in that space. Okay, move forward. Kind of crappy that this has to happen because Tesla's going to take it on the chin later on as being the first early adopter, as the same way their ICE counterparts like GM and Ford are kind of having to suffer the fact that they weren't the initial offering in electric cars, although they had promised back when with certain models, they never went full-fledged electric. And this is where this kind of thing that Tesla gets caught up in the fact that, well, they don't get the tax credits anymore. They don't get certain breaks. They weren't invited to the White House for the EV kind of signing of that bill with Joe Biden because they say that there was a possible union connection there, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
So, look, this is kind of like that same downstream effect, which is they need their battery tech, they need their truck, they need to be number one because they're going to be a little later into the marketplace with Cybertruck than competitors, but they shouldn't lose out on their competitive edge because they lost business insider secrets to people being hired away, right? I kind of see that as to where that's going.
I see that. Yeah.
Right?
If you're a company and you are on the cutting edge of whatever your field is,
yeah,
and you develop something that is cutting like new, no one's done.
Right.
You should be permitted to capitalize on that for your effort you've expended.
Correct.
Especially as a business for profit, right? So, and then for this to happen, if Tesla's found to be in the correct here and it has been borrowed permanently, yeah, that's Rivian. That's not good for you.
That's not.
So yeah.
And we've talked about Rivian doing their membership privileges where they're going to have their events.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that's cool there.
Yeah, and not only that, look, there's people that have gotten their hands on the cars, and there have been a number of reviews that I watched this weekend. I probably watched 2 hours worth of reviews, and they were glowingly good.
Yeah, the product looks good.
The product looks good. I mean, this is basically, if you don't like the looks of Cybertruck and you want a truck right now, you don't want to wait for the Ford F-150 Lightning. They're here, they're out there, they're ready to produce and get you as a customer. And from what I saw, with the exception of the price, which is pricey, but if you got a fully optioned out unit with the seats, the plugs in the back, with the pull out basically kitchenette that they have underneath the seat.
And you're gonna have access to you're gonna have access to charging network, you're gonna have access to the guided excursions, you're gonna have access to other stuff. It's appealing.
It is really appealing.
But yeah, as we've said before, with air taxis especially, right? You can have a great like idea, but if it's not executed properly on a business case, then it doesn't matter. You might totally lose out.
I just had a thought. I wonder if Tesla would exclude them from using their charging network if this went on into a bigger battle, and Tesla basically said, "Look, sure, you can use our battery tech, but the problem is you're going to lose half of your infrastructure because they said that they were going to open up their cars towards other people using their charging stations." And I could see this as a retaliatory move, is basically saying, but you can't charge here.
Well, Rivian might not care about the long term because, again, as we just mentioned, Rivian's putting their own charging network in. And so
I emphasize putting.
Putting. And of course, that takes a while to get that infrastructure up. So, but Rivian's just starting out as far as getting the cars out the door, the trucks out the door. So, I don't know. I mean, as with court cases, we could see, they might might grant part of the case to Tesla, but grant something else to Rivian. We'll have to see.
Interesting.
We'll see with the court.
Let's see what happens in court.
Yep. So thanks. So, am I getting anything else to add for that?
Nah, I'm good. Oh, cool. I mean, that was my last dirty thought.
Yeah, we'll keep track of this for you guys. Obviously, we're interested to see what happens here as well. Obviously, it has knock-on effects for Tesla battery tech and anybody else's battery tech if it gets out, and then of course Rivian as well, which you're into. So please like, share, subscribe down below. You guys know the drill. Make sure you hit the bell too, so you'll know when we go live or post a video.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things too on our channel, right, is that you guys can participate in the live shows, which 14:30 or 2:30 p.m. Eastern time, and you can ask us questions, live. So
Yeah.
come join us.
Maybe an Ask Roscoe question. Get him off that couch.
Yeah, I don't know. He's I don't know if he's gonna participate.
Yeah, I don't know. Kind of done for the day. All right, folks. Yeah, like, subscribe, follow. Let us know what you think. All right, this last one is going to be kind of more of an open discussion. I'll introduce the topic, but I have said, and maybe inaccurately at certain times, that with the growth of the EV population of cars out there, that we would see a massive infrastructure bleed on electricity overnight, and that there could be a downside to all this EVing. Just saying.
Yeah.
Okay, my hypothesis was that at times when energy is cheap and relatively more available, people would suddenly be plugging in. This is based off the fact that everyone says right now EVs only make up 1% of the average amount of cars on the road-going public, infrastructure currently.
Worldwide, yeah.
Yeah, worldwide. Okay, so in order to explore that conversation a little bit more, Verta Global, okay, produced basically some information, and I just wanted to do a little bit more digging on it, and I'm just going to dump this on the screen right out there, which says this is a myth buster: electric vehicles will overload the power grid. Now they go on to say some really interesting things here. That they say, fact, if 80% of all passenger cars became electric, this would lead to only a total increase of 10 to 15% of electricity consumption. Now, that still means that we would have to see gains basically in the electric infrastructures out there. But according to McKinsey and Company, which did this actual study, they said that the projected growth of e-mobility will not drive an immediate or substantial increase in total electric grid power demand. All right. And they go on to make some comparisons to the EU. And they also state that there's a couple other caveats here, that EVs are 5 to 6 times more efficient right now than the internal combustion or the ICE engine equivalents. Okay. And trucks will be probably 50% of their diesel equipments, right? Which is great. All right. And the other thing they go in to say is that one of the offsets would be that electric cars would basically be an in-grid plug-in that would allow cars to become part of the power source at night. So basically, once one got topped off, you're topped off. Now you're sitting there to resupply the grid, should it be necessary. So there's that. So there's this dump back in. And then they're talking about the EV charging grids and some of the more electrical charging grid myths, okay? And they're saying that currently, 58% of all electricity produced is already carbon neutral. Okay? Now, this says a lot, and this could be good information, bad information. We're just looking at it from the perspective of what we said here on the show before about the massive infrastructure spikes. Now, Corey, you're the EV expert because, well,
wow.
you are the EV owner in the house.
Wow, that's
right.
Okay.
You have the EV chart. You have the Tesla charger. Okay. What would you say your average consumption of your electricity went up on average since you bought the Tesla? Did you notice a spike?
So, kind of a double whammy. So on my case in particular, we both started working from home about when we got our car, a little bit after that. So it did go up. Our energy consumption per month over a year time frame did go up. It didn't go up a whole lot. And when I was talking to the wife about it, of course, too, again, as I mentioned, both worked at home more, so there was less driving in total between the two. Good, the job I had previously was coast, and so I would drive. Literally, this situation I had, it is what it is. I had a car I had to drive to the coast and back every day, and needless to say, the car it took premium, and then the way it was, I had to fill the car up with gas every 3 days. That's just that is what it was.
It was also a V8,
yeah, of
and
course.
it was also it was also a Shelby, and it was also a Mustang.
It was a Cobra Mustang. Sure.
Yeah, it was a Cobra Mustang. So
yeah, I get it, but I mean, so for me, and again, is my case, our net consumption of power and expenditure of recharging or would gas the equivalent is definitely down.
Okay.
Because she doesn't drive at all. Anywhere we go, we take my car, the Tesla, and we don't go too far really much. And so yeah, but the power did go up a little bit. But again, like I said, we're not getting any gas.
So to fill up my car, right? Just got cut in there.
And of course, gas prices are up quite high now, actually.
Yeah,
just
I used to
Not unrelated, but just it is what it is. Gas prices
sure.
for oil, but yeah.
I was gonna say you also probably saved money in the avenue that used to cost me $22 to
Mhm.
put gas in my car. Now it's costing me $40 to put 11 gallons of
Sure.
gas in my
Yep.
car, which is
Yep.
kind of ridiculous at this
Yep.
point that gas has gone up so much. But the offset there is that you also saw a decrease in what you were putting actually out in gas, right?
Yep.
So do you think that the offset on what you stopped paying for in gas and the increase in your electric, do you think that that was a broad base, a net savings at the end when you include the car price, the gas, and the electricity? Would you say that overall you think you came out ahead?
I think it's all things considered. I mean, obviously now I have a new car payment, right? The other car was paid off.
Mhm.
That's always something somebody always brings up. Well, you had to buy a new car.
Mhm.
Yeah, I totally understand. Uh, the other car was going to start costing me things to upkeep and maintain.
Mhm.
I really like that car, so sure it would have been great. But all things considered, new transmission, engine build, or okay, fine. So yeah, I would say yes though. Like I said, um, using a little bit more electricity and then not having anything else. I mean, as you guys know anything about EVs, you obviously I don't have oil to change. My brakes, my car is regenerative braking, and so once you get used to how to use the regenerative braking, I almost don't use the brake pedal at all, like at all, literally at
Mhm.
all.
Mhm.
So maintainability of the car itself, there's less wear and tear, but less things to replace.
Mm.
I will need new tires soon. Something to say, but
How many miles you got on this tire?
I've got
How many miles you got on?
38,000.
Oh, real. Okay, so wow, that car's
So
got that many miles on it. So here's the,
yeah,
I guess
it
so.
does now.
In speaking to what the article talks about, right? Basically saying that have you been able to sell back any of your electricity paid to the electric company that's been
Yes. So
okay?
no, I'm saying no, I haven't because
No, okay.
our
Mm.
so the Tesla I have, Tesla Model 3, you can't give power back to the grid. There's ways you can do it, but I'm not doing that. Um, and we don't have solar panels, photovoltaic solar panels on our roof, so we
Mm.
don't make our own electricity. That would be nice, but long story short, we're not doing that currently either. So I do know people that sell back to the grid, and obviously can put in Florida where we're at too. But uh, you pointed out a nice, interesting thing down here at the bottom as well, though. That in this article, it literally also talks about how your car, your EV car, uh, whether it's through maybe incentives through your local government or whatever, however they want to do it, you could opt to give power back from your car back to the grid
Mhm.
if demand was high in any particular case. And that might be something that particular governments, state, local, whatever it might be, might say incentives, right? Say, hey, you get an EV car, we'll give you a
Incentives.
credit for whatever, but
Mm.
hey, you got to have it plugged in the grid whenever possible, or whatever fine print they want. Right. So,
Right.
but that would help the grid, though. We're again, this thing we're talking about is he's in the charging grid, and that would help. We got a whole bunch of batteries that are full, and they have high voltage batteries able to get power back to the grid. And if you have no power, but everybody in the neighborhood's got EVs, well, there's power there, just nobody can access it. So,
Right. Right.
um, yeah,
Interesting. It's interesting. So these guys basically, this virtual global, by the way, they will sell you a charging solution. They are in this business. So if this study is skewed in any way, shape, or
right,
form,
right,
okay, there's that. So
yeah,
we want to talk
yeah,
about it. So they
yeah,
do have different case studies on here for different parts of the charging solutions that they offer to bring to customers. Right. It's just interesting to see a different take that they say that, hey, really, you should want to buy into the electric charging solutions of the future because it gives you the opportunity to tap into basically the infrastructure now, and they anticipate that there's still going to be a 15 or 10 to 15% growth in total electric production, which should right get us through the gap of people adapting to a lot more electric vehicles. Interesting to see if that's the case. If you guys have any other information out there that you think combats this, or if this study was actually wrong, let us know because we're simply not able to conduct our own research or study here on the channel. Obviously, it's up for discussion for you guys to let
yeah.
us know what you actually think because we want to know what you think. So let us know in the comments below if you think it's true, if it's not true, if you think that our electric future is going to require a lot more electricity, and what the scenario is there.
And I would be interested to know too. Anybody out there watching the video that has an
Mm,
EV, would you be up for able having it be able to plug into the grid
mm.
for whenever you're not using it? I mean, on an average day when you guys drive your EV, do you find yourself running low on range? I know it depends on the EV, of course. Some 50 miles of range, and maybe they're hybrids. I get that. But would you? I mean, me myself, I don't keep my car topped up because I don't need to. And on, I don't even know, 90% of the days I drive, I don't have any issue with range. So if I could, maybe get money back from the power company because I'm giving electricity to the grid at night when I'm not using it, then maybe I can get some back at a lower cost. I don't know. There might be something to ponder there. But would you guys be up for such a thing? And yeah, what do you think?
Interesting. Let us know. Okay. Well, if you're starving for alternate sources of social media today, hopefully you found our show and you'll be excited to do so. Because it seems like, well, Facebook's still down.
I guess I could have had the tag Facebook, and then we would have had everybody here, but that would have been
not good,
not accurate.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens. So what we're alluding to is the fact that apparently Facebook, WhatsApp, and Instagram, wink, wink, are all down. So that's interesting enough. All down today. So let's see how social media recovers. All right, that's all we got for you today. I don't have anything else. You got anything else?
No, I'm good. Thanks for everybody's time. Thanks. Let us know in the comments below what you think about anything we talked about. What you'd like us to chat or research and talk about later.
Yeah, that would be great. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in today, and we will talk to you real soon. Take care. Have a great day.
Bye, Roscoe. Bye.
Bye-bye. Later.
Roscoe.
Later, Gator.
Roscoe.
Roscoe the Rastafarian.
Roscoe. Thanks, Harris. This music is brought to you by Harris Heller. Links down below.
You.
Always some cool tunes there. Free to use on any of your anything else. Yeah.
There we go. All right, folks. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you later.
Bye.
Bye.